Hey,
And
okay, we're
and we are
live.
live now. What's going on?
Okay,
What's going on? Hey,
my boy
what
Ramon,
what was
welcome.
it? You were gonna say something?
Oh no, I didn't know we were going live at that particular time.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, shout out. Now we're live, man. Shout out to the Introvert Boricua channel.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, and welcome to the 18th letter. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. This is
No
kind of like
problem.
a baby steps, charting new territory, that kind of thing. So I appreciate you being here. So I'm trying to look into my channel. Let me see if I can get this out to a couple of people. Yeah, yeah. Let's see what's up. Sending it out to a couple of people that I believe they're gonna be cool with us. Okay. So man. So how was it? That crazy weekend of this and
Oh
crazy
yeah,
day,
yeah,
long work day. Uh, trying to
yeah,
get trying to get the money, trying to make a living, right on this thing. How
yep.
was it
That's
for you, man?
Oh, it was. Well, I've been enjoying my days off, but that's usually
Yeah,
with every day. Today it was okay. I didn't have I didn't have a bad day. When you're driving on that road, you just have to be very cautious. You have to be very aware because a lot of people's lives is in your hands, and you have to be focused, especially when you're driving through rain or snow or different things like that, because those wheels can lock up on you and it can be an ugly sight. I've seen some things on the road that people can have nightmares about. So, but the things that we do for money, right? The things that we do to make a
yeah,
living because we have to,
definitely.
because, you know,
Yeah. It's part of this grind, the weekly grind that we have to take care
yes,
of. We have to take care of this
yes.
business. Yeah. So
And
aside from that, have you been keeping up with what's going on with the craziness, the YouTube streets as they call it?
oh no, I haven't been really keeping up too much. I'll peek my head in here and there, but I have been,
Yeah,
hearing as far as we're currently in the holidays. We're still dealing with the effects of COVID-19, so you have a lot of people that's unemployed, and we know that's oil and water that don't mix, and that causes
yeah,
a catastrophic blend for crime. And
yeah,
places all over the country, whether it be Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, parts of Dallas and Houston, crime is going up. And, it's important for people to
yeah,
be well aware and be, as my grandmother would say when I was growing up, to be aware is to be alive. So, watch yourself and make sure that you're taking necessary precautions to protect yourself. And ladies, this is what, because in the previous stream, me and my boy Ramon, we talked about women feeling like they don't need men. This is a situation where you really need men. So I advise you all not to play any games, because in in this type of in this type of environment that's going on right now, you have people that are targeting people that they deem as weak. So if you're going into those targets and you're going into those Best Buys and people see you as a woman and they see that they can overpower you and possibly take, money that you have, or even force you to an ATM and try to get money out of the ATM. Things like that
yeah,
can happen. You all have to think about those type of things.
yeah. I mean, that's true. That's true. That's gonna what you're saying is gonna link in onto the main topic. We're gonna get to it real soon. Hey, Don Jose, ¿cómo está? How you doing, sir?
Oh, my
Good to see
YouTube
you over
dad,
here.
Jose,
Yeah. Our favorite
and
uncle, the man
our
from
favorite.
Parchester.
Yep, Parchester, New York, baby. Make sure you visit.
Yes.
You may not want to leave.
Yes. I mean, but Jose has been very good at advertising the place. I mean, making sure that we all know about it. What is it? The Jewel of the Bronze? Is that what you call it, Jose?
Yes,
Appreciate you coming
tell them,
by.
Jose. You have Brooklyn, you have the Bronx, you have Queens, you have Staten Island, you have Manhattan, but you also have Parkchester, and that's something completely
Yeah.
separate from everything. It's even gonna be the sixth borough.
Ah, Parkchester alone is gonna be the sixth borough.
Yeah, I know I'm being
Really?
sarcastic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, I get it. I get it. I get it. Just I've never heard it stated like that before. Yeah, yeah. But what you were saying on the most more serious part is not just kind of like the uptick in crime, things going on, getting a little bit crazier around this time of the year. There are a lot of people out there that are also shopping and that could be seen as easy targets, and you know that the cowards out there are gonna be targeting the more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Moonchaser? It's good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Shout out to Moon.
It,
What's up? What's up, Moon?
yeah, I see him in the chat. Hit the like. So there is a there is that situation with that. I mean, the and not only that, also on even a more serious note, because of the whole thing with the pandemic, the how it has hurt the economy. There are certain groups that are becoming kind of like in a more they're getting more restless, and uh, uh, they're getting more unpredictable. They're getting more violent, and people need to be able to watch out for them. And that's why we want to bring up the subject of protection, people to be being able to protect themselves. The thing is that that subject, it takes on a different form depending on what part of the country are you at. There are certain parts of the country where it's easier to for people to protect themselves, and there are other parts of the country where it's more difficult because of the laws. It is kind of like a you have different sets of local laws, state laws that vary, and it's not it, it's not easy to discern which places you can do certain things, or which places you can protect yourself better. Of course, I'm in the south, and in the southern places, it's actually more relaxed. That's the part that the south does have correct. I may not agree with everything when it comes to the politics. I may not agree with every single thing, but when it comes to the issue of being able to protect yourself, then I have to give the south credit for that, because you can basically you can have so many options. It's not like in other parts of the country where they make it so restrictive. Um, I keep hearing about all the issues that they're having in California when it comes to gun control, and people not being able to. Many people were okay with the gun control in California until the pandemic hit, and then it started. It's it became that situation in which there were two main things that ran out almost immediately. One was toilet paper. The other one was guns and ammunition. Well, you can
Yes,
put those two
yes.
things together because those two things are necessary. You need both. And I remember you can look up the videos of people trying to buy items for self protection, firearms, and they were running out. The gun shops will be running out. But even if they had not running out because of the restrictions over there, there is a waiting period of several days, and that was people were getting frustrated because they didn't know about the rules and about the regulation over there, and the shop owners were having to tell people, hey, we know that you want your gun, but there are the state laws that says that you have to wait X amount of days so you can get your gun. And people were trying to insist that they could get their gun uh, before the waiting period, and the shop owners gun shop owners were having to explain that to the guy, and they were getting mad about it and dealing with all the phone calls, getting harassed by the customers that had never had a weapon before, and because they didn't know the process. They didn't know the process over there. Fortunately, in the southern states, that's not really an issue. I mean, you can pick up your item the same day. At least in Texas, that's where I learned about it, and I was able to just um, if I were to pick up something, I could pick it up the same day. So I can't complain.
Yes,
But I
yes.
wanted to, but I wanted to get your view on that because I know that it's a little difficult. It's a little different. Um, in Illinois, there are more restrictions over there,
Oh man.
but you can protect yourself. So if you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yes, one of the reasons you can't protect yourself in Illinois is because of a gentleman. I cannot remember his name at this particular time, but within the
Mhm.
last, it happened within the last 15 years or so. It was a gentleman. He was a former civil rights activist. He lived in my old neighborhood of Morgan Park, which is located on the far south side of Chicago. He was dealing with hoodlums that was constantly breaking into his home, and he wanted to go register to get a firearm, and he could
Right.
not. And because the
Yeah.
laws was on the same level as of a New York City or New York State,
Oh.
he cannot. And he literally had to take the city of Chicago to the Supreme Court and,
Yeah.
fight to be able to own a firearm because he said that, they were violating his rights, which of course they were. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and that man won. And they had to, recognize that people should be able to exercise their Second Amendment right in the city of Chicago and therefore exercise their right to protect themselves. Even with that
Right.
being said, the way that these blue states tend to work is that they
Yeah.
allow you to protect yourself and make you feel like it's a win, but they'll put so many different limitations and put so many loopholes into being able to protect yourself. It'll feel like that you have never won any victory to begin with. So,
Yeah. And yeah, go on.
oh no, go ahead, Ramon.
No, because I mean, not to mention the costs, because they can go on and raise the cost or and make it all very expensive. And any and every part of the process, they can put all these large fees on them and make it so expensive to discourage you to follow the process and being able to apply for a license or permit and um to not just to carry but just to be able to own a weapon to be able to own a firearm they could make it very difficult. I mean, and
Yes,
expensive, and they require you all this paperwork just to be able to have something for yourself in your home because the government doesn't trust you apparently. And it was I remember seeing a video. I remember seeing a video about this journalist. Actually, he was on Fox. What's his name? John Stossel. Stossel. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was doing
yeah,
a
that's his name.
piece
That's his
on.
name.
He was doing a piece that I'm sure that you can look it up. It should be on YouTube, in which he was talking about him trying to go through the process in New York City to get a concealed carry permit, and it was they needed a whole bunch of paperwork, and there were very expensive fees, several $100s, and he still got denied. I mean, the thing is, so they kept
And,
they
and they
kept
kept
his
and he kept
money.
his money.
Yeah, they kept
Yeah.
the authority, the office, or the whatever department in New York handles that. Of course, they kept his money for because it's required for the application, but they denied it. They denied him, and then when he started talking to people that are in the know, started doing his research. Then he found out that to get a concealed carry in New York City, you have to be a Donald Trump or somebody who highly connected,
Or Robert De
senator,
Niro or
politician.
somebody like that.
Yeah, it has to be somebody of prominence, somebody who is connected. I mean, those are the ones that could could actually apply and get issue one, because it has you gotta have a hookup for it. A legal hookup with a politician, senator, whoever is in authority there that has influence. So yeah. I mean, but thankfully here where I'm at is actually fairly straightforward. Unfortunately, you have to still give up your fingerprints to the local government. In this case, in the case of Texas, it should be a Department of Public Safety, the DPS. So I didn't like that. I'll admit I didn't like it having to give up my fingerprints. So on the state level, they already got that. So hopefully they keep that on file. It stays on file. They don't use it somewhere else and get me in trouble. But aside from that, the rest of the process is fairly easy because you have to go through a safety training course and do kind of like a test, and you have to get a good score when it comes to accuracy. And then after that it was like a little over $100 down here. I understand it's even cheaper now, so I don't know exactly how much it is now. But point being is that because it's not just there have been uptakes in crime, and certain people have been going crazy, and people that feel that they gotten uh, have gotten them near destitute or disenfranchised, or they're going broke, and they're getting radicalized. And I'm sure that you know who it is that are usually associated with domestic terrorism or domestic radicalism, and they're becoming it's becoming kind of like a real threat. I don't know anything about right now about FBI information. I'm sure they know something, they have put out something, but you have to really dig this up, dig up the information. But the what I keep hearing is that it is best to protect oneself. Now, there are because the different in different states the process is different. Then everybody who is in whatever state, they need to look it up on their own and get informed about the gun laws in their respective states. So definitely, absolutely, strongly recommend. This is not about wanted to cause harm to somebody. This is not about somebody trying to be a vigilante. Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, Kyle, vigilante Kyle. No. We're not talking about. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, that's not what we're talking about here, but about being able to protect oneself as long as you do it the right way. I mean, do it by the rules, follow the laws, and like protect yourselves. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And because what we're dealing with here is just trying to protect your life and protect your family's life. Because one thing people don't understand, just
Yeah.
because you have a gun, you're still restricted with what you can do with that gun. If the dominoes don't, fall down in your, if the dominoes don't fall like in your favor with the situation, you could be going to jail for murder. You definitely will be going to jail for
Yeah.
murder, even if it was a situation where you feel that you were defending yourself. One thing that you covered, Ramon, with the increasing cost of being able to own a firearm, just here, you know, and that's one thing we like to say because people, I know you have a lot of people that tend to think that people within my particular ethnic group, being a Black American, are just whines
Yeah.
about racism when it's a lot of validity to what they're saying and what we're saying as a group, because even the gun laws are rooted in racism. And one thing that people don't understand, even though those gun laws too affect other minorities as well, such as the Latin community and any other community, because if you're looking to purchase yourself a firearm and you live in a high crime area and they make
Yeah.
the trials and tribulations so difficult that it's hard for you to purchase a firearm, or maybe you can't afford a firearm based off of your income, who do you think that's going to affect the most? And it's structured to be that
Yes.
way, because they know of the economic disparities between the groups versus other groups that are in the position to be able to go purchase them firearms, no matter what the cost may be. Here in the state of Illinois, I have to have a FOID card, which is a firearms owner's identification card, which I have to pay
Okay.
um, $100 to get, and then on top of that, I
Yeah.
still have to pay. I had to pay $250 to be able to take a course to be able to have a permit to conceal and carry, which I have to pay for that. So that's
Right.
$350 off bat, plus your firearm,
Yeah.
plus ammunition, plus ammunition that you need to go to the
Hot damn.
range to practice, and that's just one firearm. So that's one thing that people, do not understand.
Yes.
As far as
Yes.
yeah,
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Like we were saying, man. Like we were saying, they intentionally make it more difficult. They intentionally make it more expensive, and they do all of that to restrict your own rights. But they need to be reminded of the following. Let me see if I can share this. Let me see if you can see it. Let me know.
no, I can't see it.
Okay. Hang on. Can you see? Can you see now?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So they need to be reminded of this. This is something that is actually part of the Constitution, specifically what is called the Bill of Rights. So, what is the Bill of Rights? Those are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Those were added as kind of like reiterating people's rights. Now, on this one, it says Second Amendment: a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are people that are very into weapons, into firearms, and what is it that they say? I have heard it so many times. People that are very pro gun and all of that, which I understand to a degree why they are like that. As long as they don't get too crazy and then they try to make it political. Now, this is a rights issue, so it's political to a degree, but not necessarily to one side of the aisle. That this should be for all. This should be for everybody. Everybody who's a citizen, and definitely everybody that is a taxpayer should have this right too. And something that they reiterate is when it comes to the shall not be infringed part, because all of these regulations at the state level, depending on which state you're at, they do kind of like restrictions that do infringe on the right. So the amendment is kind of clear when it says it shall not be infringed. But all of these regulations, all of this law, because they create laws by the thousands in different parts of the United States, but it's only one amendment, and they're trying to chip away at what the amendment covers. So it definitely is something that should be reminded of to kind of like representatives and government officials that go along with making these restrictions that only affect the law abiding. Because the one thing is, okay, you got the crime, and you got the people that creating these problems, and they have the guns, they have all of the guns that they want. But okay, in what do the politicians do? They make it more difficult for the law abiding to be able to protect themselves. The restrictions do not affect the people that are committing the crimes. It doesn't affect them. That's what they refuse to understand. And they're just victimizing the law abiding. And that's the part that I have to agree to a degree with the law, with the gun lobby, with the people that are pro Second Amendment. I have to
Yes.
agree with them because on that it does make sense. I mean, okay, there is an issue with guns on the streets and all of these kids that are killing themselves, and there is violence and stray bullets that are killing innocent people. Okay, yeah, but what is it that the politicians do? They try to pass more laws. They put more restrictions on the law abiding, not on the people that are committing the crimes. That's not going to make any difference to them. They don't obey the laws. Imagine in certain places like places in New York or places in on the West Coast, in certain parts of California, where there is a lot of violence over there, and they have some of the most strict gun control measures in the country. You
Yeah.
in Illinois, at least you can get more of a standard capacity magazines. I understand, which is
Yeah.
something that is not a thing in California. I mean, whatever the firearm is, you can only have 10 rounds, 10 round
Yeah.
capacities, and they have to do the they have to do these alterations to rifles, and you can't hold the weapon properly because you cannot have a pistol grip on the rifle. It just looks funny, and it's funny and sad because I hate to see like a fine rifle with like a blade grip that you can't put your thumb around. That's stupid. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's like the stupidest thing. I mean,
Right.
you gotta have like a rifle, but it has to have kind of like a shotgun stock, like a shotgun butt stock that doesn't have like a proper grip that will only make it more controllable. I mean, it's just so backwards. What do you think of that?
I think you're absolutely correct. Even when I see AR pistols without any type of braces or anything like that, it looks weird. It just looks like it's like, well, if I don't have a brace, can I get rid of that two on the back? But you can't because excuse me, you can't because that's part of the AR platform. So you just can't get rid of that. But yeah, it's so many different restrictions. Even here in the city of Chicago, we have some of the highest rates of gun violence, but yet some of the strictest gun laws in the nation.
Yeah,
And it goes to show you too with politics, this is just a ploy that these politicians use to, you know, have people vote for them or to get certain people into office that they may want to get in, because unfortunately a lot of people tend to keep falling for this trick. You know, like you said earlier, it was people that was running during the course of the riots and the situations like that. It was people that was running to the gun store to purchase firearms, and these are the same people that just voted against firearms
yeah,
without realizing what they was voting against. That, and it
yeah,
goes to show you that if a person does not pay any attention, that person can easily be manipulated into giving his vote to something that's going to be at a disadvantage for you,
Yeah.
because we know these politicians, they got their armed guards, they go with them everywhere they want to. In a lot of the red states, they're able to be able to rightfully protect themselves and protect their home, if they have to engage in an altercation with someone that may potentially, want to threaten their life or may want to take their life or their family's lives. But in the blue states, it's an issue for minorities to be able to protect themselves. And we're living in some of the most dangerous areas. So it
Yeah.
just baffles me how a person can vote against their own self interest. Why, you know, whatever laws they pass within that county or within that city is directly going to affect you, and directly is going to affect you in the worst way. And
Yeah.
it's just the same. Even in California, it's only like you can have a generation 3 Glock, but not a generation 4, and like different things like that. It's like it's really ridiculous. And then you have the ATF who's constantly making laws, and then creating more different laws, and say the ones that they originally made, you can't follow those laws anymore. You got to follow these, and it's out of control.
I'm trying to understand why is it that in California the people can have a generation 3 lock but they can't have a generation 4 lock. I'm trying to understand. I mean, can you enlighten me on that, because I don't know what the hell. I mean, aside
Yeah,
from the fact that a lot of people think that the generation 3 locks are the best of them all, I don't see the issue as to why they can't have something that is updated that might actually work better. Like, because I understand that California has a roster. Whatever it is on the roster is what you can get. I
right,
mean, even if
right,
it is something newer, updated, and probably because of the market, they could be able to make more money by charging more for these newer items. But they still have a roster that says that you cannot have like a generation 4 dog or 5, because there is a generation 5 already, and you can't have one of those. I mean, I'm trying to understand why you can have an earlier one but not a newer one. I don't know if it has something to do with those the generation threes having been released before these newer laws went to effect. So there is the whole grandfather thing. So that's what I think it could be. I don't know. So I figured that maybe you knew something about that. But yeah, I heard something about that. And in California, you can have Generation 3, but you can't have anything newer than that. And the thing is that there might not, that market might have dried up out there because you can't have anything newer. And you are trying to purchase an older Glock, and you are going to be paying top dollar for it. I mean, I don't know. That's not fair. That's not right.
No, no, it's not. And I'm not. I have no idea what's going on with that as well. I haven't looked into the laws as much as I should have with California, but I just find it outright ridiculous that that's actually being able to be put into effect, where people are restricted on what type of firearms they can have, because every
Yeah.
firearm that we purchase, none of these firearms are assault weapons like the media tries to portray. An assault weapon is a militarized weapon that is only you're only able to get if you're enlisted in the military.
Yes.
So even when they say an assault rifle, AR-15 means assault rifle. It does not. AR-15 stands for Armalite rifle, which was the company Armalite who created the AR-15, which was the
Yes.
first civilian rifle that was
Right.
created.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people, because they don't know any better, they see the letters AR, and they assume that that's a assault rifle, and it was never like that. Actually, AR-15, that's actually the civilian ones that cannot that do not have a fully automatic capability. I mean, I know that cosmetically, they can look the same. I mean, you can have like something that looks like an M4, which is military, and that could be. there could be AR-15s that are gonna look like that, but they don't work the same. Like for example, let me see if I can. Let me let me see if I can, because I know I have a picture. Hang on. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Can you see?
No, no, I can't see it.
Okay, I have to get better at this. Okay, something should be showing now. Now, this rifle, one looks at it and one says, "Oh, assault weapon, scary assault weapon." But the thing is that the the features, the look of it, that's not what makes it an assault weapon. It's really what's going on in the receiver. I mean, cosmetically, it does look like something that a soldier would be carrying, because it has kind of like the the front grip, front vertical grip. It has an optic, and it has the adjustable butt stock, and that's to make it more versatile, to make it easier for the person carrying to be able to use it, properly. But it's in the functioning. It's in the functioning. That's where that varies, because if it were kind of the receiver had a lever with a three position, that would be different, and it will be a three position lever, safety lever, and that usually will mean that either it's fully automatic, meaning that you pull the trigger and you hold down the trigger and it keeps shooting and shooting and shooting until the magazine runs out, or it might have like a three-shot burst. Well, there are some of these newer kind of like M16 or M4 that they might not have fully automatic, but they might have like a three-shot burst, which is still highly regulated. That's something that is still reserved for the military. Um, and it's very hard for a civilian to actually get one of those. Not to mention they're very expensive. They're very expensive. They cost thousands of dollars. Very few people can afford them, and they have to do a lot of paperwork. They have to get special licenses. They have to get approval from the government, pay tax stamps. I mean, not everybody can go through that process. Not to mention the firearm itself. That, let's say, if you try to purchase like an M16 that is decades old, that was manufactured before 1986, and it could cost you what, at least $20,000. It's something like that, something along those lines
Yeah,
when it comes to the
yeah.
cost. Yeah. So the thing is, okay, it might look a little scary, but worry more about the function. If it's set semi-automatic, you can only get one bullet out per trigger pull. That kind of like the same as a pistol, or like the same as a, let's say, like a Garand rifle. I mean, those are World War II era, and they didn't have full auto capability, but yeah, it was one shot per trigger pull. So no, I don't think that it should be overly heavily regulated. So what you think? You got something like this? You got something like this decked out like this?
Not decked out like that, but I do have a entry level AR rifle. I have the
Ah, okay,
Springfield
gotcha, gotcha.
Armory entry level rifle, which I will be adding, different
Yes,
different attachments to it down the line.
yes.
That's my baby. I got to take care of it, and it's crazy because even what you was just saying, like even here in I live in Will County, which is the borderline of Cook County. Cook County is where Chicago is located in within Illinois. And even I have to be careful even going back into the city because in a lot of places it's legal to carry what you would call an AR pistol and an AK pistol. I own both.
Mm-hmm.
But the laws, the gun laws varies county to county, and even Chicago gun laws are different from the rest of the county. So if I get caught dead with my M92 or
Mm-hmm.
my Ruger 5.56, if I get caught with any of those in the city of Chicago, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
Just driving in there. They're not trying to hear, oh no, well I forgot that I hadn't. No, 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 no. They're not trying to hear nothing like that. Even though a majority of the crime that's being committed in the city of Chicago is with handguns, they're not trying to hear any of that. Excuse me. The fact that it looks scary, that means it's scary. It's an assault weapon, and you're going to jail. That's how the logic works, especially when you're dealing with politics.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like using their power to exert control over the population that want them to be defenseless, trying to keep them ignorant, but they have to take it upon themselves to learn their laws and kind of like have representatives that actually have their best interest at heart. This pandemic showed a lot of people that they can't really trust everything that the politicians say, because a lot of the politicians, they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, they don't know how to call things. They use all the wrong terminology. The they just don't know. They just don't know. They're politicians. They're not necessarily the people that have been trained in any of this.
Once I
So
realized that, because we have a history of deeming politicians as smart people here in the United States, and once I realized as a kid that George W. Bush was a C student and was still managed to be president of the United States, that was all that you needed to tell me to realize that most politicians are not that bright.
yeah,
Most
yeah,
people, most of them just have an agenda that they want to further by getting into office. And people that are in support of that agenda, that may be, close associates of theirs, each elbow rubs the other. You give me a favor for a favor. So once I'm in there, because I've even had people tell me, like, we had one governor, um, I believe his last name was Governor Rauner, if I'm not mistaken, who was the governor before the previous governor that we have now. And I remember people would ask me, why would a rich man wants to be the governor and only pays like, that's like $100,000 job? Well, it's obvious because it's for the power. As long as he has power in there, he can get in there, get some things done for some of his fellow, associates or people that he's, involved in on financial business, and it'll work out in
yeah,
his favor later on down the line. A lot of people don't even get the basics of that. It's just people allow themselves to be brainwashed and say, well, if this person used big words, he dresses in a suit, he says he's
yes.
for the American people. Well, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
he has my best interests at heart. And no. And one of the reasons that the Second Amendment was founded was to prevent, pretty much a tyrannical government, because we know that a lot of the people, Europeans that came over here to the United States, they were used to a tyrannical government in Europe. So once they,
Yeah.
settled here, even though they participated in a lot of tyrannical things themselves, once they settled here, they wanted to make sure that they did not have a monarchy that, mirrored what they dealt with in Britain.
Exactly, exactly. And the thing is that I think George Washington had a chance to become king, but he chose not to.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
And let's give a welcome to the man who is the leader, the governor of that area called Park Chester. What is it? The Jewel of the Bronx, Jose? How you doing?
Good
What's
evening.
up? What's up,
It
Jose?
is the jewel of the brunch. And the good news,
Ah,
it is now 11 days until the first day of winter.
that's I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah. I saw you in the back. I was giving you a chance to get your shirt on. So, so how you doing? What do you think of what we're talking about so far?
Well, the fact of the matter is, the Second Amendment is always going to be a difficult topic to discuss logically because you have people who want to restrict the rights of others to bear arms, and then you have the other extreme, which is basically anyone should have any type of arms, including a bazooka. So, so the thing is trying to find like some sort of a reasonable middle ground. Of course, in my case, I don't have any plans to get a gun. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think if a person, if they, if they of sound mind and body, and they don't have a criminal record, and if they go through a vetting process, which is reasonable, they should be
yes.
able to purchase a weapon legally.
Yes, no, that's specifically kind of like stressing here. Everything done the right way, everything done by the rules and the laws of the state that you're residing. Now, we were talking a little earlier about the difficulties that it can be for certain states in the northeast and in the west coast. Those areas have kind of like much stricter gun control regulations and the 18 letter was sharing about the complications that he's having to deal with when it comes to him being able to exercise his right. Now, because I'm in the South, I will admit that I don't have to deal too much with that because the laws are fairly are very pro citizen, and that's something that I have to give the southern states credit for because down here it's really not a hassle. You really don't have to deal too much with the local government. I mean, you can go to one of the many either gun shops or pawn shops or gun ranges with an ID, just a driver's license, and you can purchase a firearm that same day. The thing is that it's all as long as it is done responsibly and it's not seen as an issue here.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the issue in New York. And in fact,
Yeah,
you're going to find, like in really so-called blue states, I
yeah,
mean, they really make it extremely difficult for anyone to legally get a gun. Um,
yeah.
like I said before, I don't own a gun. I don't plan to own a gun. I have family members that have been trained in the use of firearms. I think,
Okay.
the fact of the matter is there should be a process where they
Hmm.
do proper vetting, which means including a psychological evaluation. Because let's be frank, not everyone that wants to have a gun should have a gun.
No, not everybody. Not everybody. No, I understand. There are people that may have like criminal records already, and depending on the type of felony, because it's usually when it goes up to the level of a felony, then that restricts them from being able to have a weapon, which I understand. I understand. I'm not gonna get all tight about it. But yeah, if somebody doesn't have a criminal record and they are living on the open up, doing things the right way, and they have something to protect, then they should be able to exercise the right. I mean, it is an actual amendment in the Constitution, and that's something that I believe it should be protected.
Um, I think one thing we have to bear in mind is that uh, people who wish to own guns, they have to have the right type of mental, um, how can I say it, worth, or awareness.
Yes.
because just because you don't
Yeah.
have a criminal record, you may not have the mental maturity to purchase and be licensed to get a gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's a lot of situations that tend to happen in America where um a person that they say that can have mental issues end up purchasing a firearm, and there's really no way you could prevent that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the thing that people don't understand, a person that has mental issues don't always come off as crazy or their eyes are bugging out or they're wrapped in a straitjacket.
Hmm.
You have some people that just seem
Yeah.
like normal people, and my personal opinion on that, when people say that, well, we're trying to prevent other people from having guns, well, the only person that can stop a person if a person flips out with a firearm is another person with a firearm, because there's no other way that
Yeah. Yeah.
you're leaving people defenseless. You're leaving people defenseless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame,
Of
but
course, of course. For the most part, in a situation, yeah, of course, most people in a situation where there is a shooting, the first instinct is gonna be to run for safety. But there could be situations in which you don't have anywhere to run, in your corner, or you're stuck in a room or in a classroom where you can't really run out of there, and or some other location where you don't have anywhere to go, you can't really run. So it will be better, kind of like having to shoot. Definitely it should be like a last resort, but if it gets down to it, then that should be that should be an option, at least giving people a chance.
I
Right.
agree. I agree, but you know what's the problem with that?
Yes.
It makes too much sense.
Yeah.
And with me, and
We definitely are
with my
trying. We definitely are trying to make the most sense out of it, and trying to see why is it. Why I know the United States, because of its history, it does have a gun culture that is quite unique in the world, and to a degree other countries don't understand it. Um, but I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it as long as it is done the right way and it is done responsibly. I don't have a problem with it, because there are other people that might be more kind of like left leaning, and they are like hardcore pro gun control, but that's maybe because they haven't been in a situation, they have never felt like
exactly
they need to protect themselves, and that's why they feel that way. I know I don't feel that way. I actually like to be able to have to have my own means of protection that will give me a chance. I mean, it's not something that
right,
I'm bragging about, but then again, I'm living in the South, so it makes it a little
exactly.
easier. Yeah.
And like what you were saying, Ramon, like, here's the thing, like just to elaborate on what you were speaking on, me as an avid gun owner, yourself as an avid gun owner, we're
Yes.
not saying that you're going to be Superman just because you have a firearm. The
Oh,
only
hell no.
thing a firearm does is give you an equal fighting chance. It's an equalizer. That's why they call it an equalizer for a reason.
Yeah.
It's an equalizer. It gives you a fighting chance to have a chance to be able to defend your life without it
Yes.
being taken in a manner where you're just absolutely defenseless. As we saw, with you being down south, Ramon, as you saw I'm pretty sure you saw that video of the gentleman over in White Settlement, Texas, when the
Yes.
guy opened fire,
Yes.
um, you know, and he was trying to, and they lost people behind that. And that was
Yes.
unfortunate. They lost people behind that, but
Ah,
they
you
could have
mean
lost a
like
lot more.
part of the congregation, people that
Yeah,
went to the congregation?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
People that went
yeah.
to the
But
congregation.
I remember because the at that church, it was at a church, Jose. Where the place that we're talking about, this place in there is a place called White Settlement. What a name! uh, in here in Texas, and there was a church in which in the middle of a service that was being live streamed over the internet, this guy pulled out a rifle and started shooting people, and was able to kill a couple of people, and a fellow and a church goer right then and there pulled out his own firearm and put a round on the shooter right then and there, right then and there. And yes, unfortunately, there were a couple of people that ended up dying, a couple of innocent people, but at least they were able to keep the damage at a minimum, because somebody who was trained, the guy admirable. I need him to train me how to shoot, because the guy was on the other side,
Mhm.
of the room, and took one shot and hit the guy in the head right then and there. Stopped it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
enviable accuracy.
Yeah. And to think, like what you said, I wouldn't mind him being my teacher either, Ramon, because just to think, if we were in that situation, you
Yeah,
just you're going to automatically jump. Just the fact that you're sitting in church or reading, you're going, it's the congregation, the pastor speaking. You're gonna, and just like gunshots is gonna, like, just like, what the hell is going on? And you're
yeah,
gonna look and you just see some guy over there holding a rifle, just firing upon people.
yeah,
For a lot of people, even if you want to engage that person, your nerves
yeah,
is going to get the best of you. Not saying that you're not going to take action, but let's say you try to fire, your accuracy is going to be off because you're in the urge to engage this person to stop the threat. But at the same time, you're not trying to get hit yourself. So for that
yes,
gentleman to be able to have that poise and be able to maintain his emotional control and still
yeah,
be able
yeah.
to
No,
get shots
no.
on target.
Um,
He was like cool as a cucumber. Pulled out his pistol and terminated the threat right then and there. I mean, I was amazed. I was amazed. It was tragic, definitely, because we were seeing it live stream. A couple of people getting shot right then and there. But the man that responded and 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 stopped the problem and stopped the threat. I mean, amazing, amazing. That's somebody who must have trained for a long time. I mean, yeah.
could you imagine, guys, if any of the MIG community had a gun or worse yet, had a license to carry a gun? I mean,
Oh,
as competent as they are,
yeah.
that means that shooting from the foot.
No, don't give them ideas. Those guys might not be thinking about that. Fortunately, they shouldn't be thinking about that. About
Yeah.
getting so. No, no, no. Let them be. I mean, let's
Yeah,
not let's
yeah,
not say
yeah.
those two things. Let's not mention those two things forever. Let's not speak anything into existence. We don't want that.
Right,
Let them.
right, right.
No,
You're
no,
like,
no.
yeah.
Uy. No,
Now
no,
that
no,
you
no.
say that,
Yeah, yeah.
That's-
Hopefully, one of them isn't listening, and then they start getting an idea. They start
yeah.
getting ideas about it, because no, 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 no,
So,
no.
and
Let
also,
let them troll. Let them troll online and talk
yeah,
smack, and let them
yeah.
do that. That's fine.
Oh
We're
That's
yes,
talking,
harmless.
we're
yes. Let
talking about real life right here.
oh yes, let
Yeah.
him talk about
Yes.
Mr. BBC and the free route and making the DR white again and resurrecting the Spanish Empire.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Um,
that's kind of like their thing, which is something that, well, I don't know if they might still be going on and on about those subjects, but yeah, that's
but like, I mean, and that's the thing, like what you were saying, Ramon. It's nothing but online, online ridiculousness, because we know that, of course, if any person studies history, and even us up here, we're sitting up here, talking about firearms and being able to protect yourself from firearms. Nobody's going to want to take action to do something like that outside of a live stream. We're talking about real life with real consequences, and real situations where you could potentially lose your life. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
nobody's going to be willing to, take necessary precautions. What they're going to do? Guy's going to purchase a firearm and say, "Yeah, we're going to resurrect the Spaniard Empire right now. We're going to hold
No,
court
no.
right now." That's not going to happen. That's not going to
Nah.
happen. that's not.
Nah.
That's not going to happen. And but yeah,
Wishful
like it's like,
thinking.
yeah, and and when we're talking about like, I give you the perfect example. When we're talking about, this is something that's very scary. Yeah, and Ramon, you said this multiple times. None of us want to have to use our firearm ever,
No.
ever.
No, no, no.
We like to go to the range. We like to, we like to put rounds through it down the range. Feel the power of the caliber that we're
Mm-hmm.
firing. But when it comes to a real life
Yes.
situation, that is something that no person that owns a gun wants to do. I give you the perfect example. Um, of course, like right when I was done speaking with you, Ramon, on I think a couple of days ago, I decided
Yeah.
that I was going to go get myself some food. I hadn't cooked in a while. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like cooking, so I decided to go get myself some fast food.
Mhm.
In the area that I live in the suburbs, but every suburb is not a good suburb. You have poverty-stricken suburbs in Illinois as
Mm.
well. And I
Mm-hmm.
went to a suburb that's about 10 minutes away from me called Chicago Heights. And as I'm going through this suburb, it's a very um, dilapidated looking area. It's a lot of abandoned buildings and different things there, and it's known for crime. I go through a restaurant called Nikki's Gyros. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give myself a gyro, some French fries, different things like that. As I go through the
Yeah.
drive-through, I go up to, to pay for my food. And the way that they have the drive-through windows is that
Mm-hmm.
they have like, advertisements over the windows, which is like kind of like some type of see-through plastic advertising their gyros and stuff. So they can't see on the outside and I can't see inside.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm there waiting for my gyro, I don't go anywhere without my firearm. I see
Mm.
a guy
Mm-hmm.
creeping in my side mirror. Like he's like standing
Uh,
behind my side mirror. And I was like, and I'm not gonna curse, but I was just like, what the F? And then I like drew my firearm and I turned around, like I turned back aiming it. And it was a homeless guy. And he was like, I'm sorry, I was just looking to get some food, man. Can you please help me get some food? And he was like, I'm sorry, people told me not to come on people's cars like that. I was like, sir, you can't do that, sir. I was like, people out here
yeah.
getting killed. People out here, it's like serious stuff going. I'm like, you cannot do. I didn't know who you were. And he was like, please, I'm sorry. And I was just like, I'll buy you some food, man. I was like, but please do not. I was like, this drive-through area is dark. They don't have no lights over here. I'm
Uh-huh.
sitting here waiting at this drive-through and I see you coming through my side mirror and you're standing
Yeah.
behind it as you're approaching. I don't know what you're trying to do. I was like,
Yeah.
you got to be careful. So I bought him some food. He went and he went his way and he was crying and everything. He like, please don't shoot. He's crying and everything. And I'm like, man, you about to make me cry, man. like, I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
you
but
cannot.
because
I was like,
yeah, yeah, because I'm sure you must have felt horrible having to do that, and the guy wasn't really a threat. But the thing is that you didn't know.
I didn't
You
know.
didn't
And,
know.
and
I
and the
mean,
crazy thing is, I could not see this man's face. All I saw
yeah,
was his legs, his arm, like, and,
yeah,
and that's it. I didn't see nothing else. And then I know, I come from a impoverished area, so I know. And your instincts is going to kick in right then and there. And
yeah,
I was so like on it, like I didn't put the car in neutral or anything. I still had my foot on the brake because
yes,
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if it was a man that was trying to rob me at gunpoint, carjack me, anything. And
yeah,
so I just drew first because that impulse get to like you feel that fear. You're like, whoa, what the heck? Like, because I'm not trying to be a victim either. So
Yeah.
Like, after I bought him some food, he calmed down and everything, and I just told him. He was like, other people have told me not to do that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I was like, it's okay, man. I was like, but just don't do that, please. Don't do that. Don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. No, I remember a while ago, I was going into an establishment, and I remember walking back to my car, and as I was about to getting in my car, I was able to see it out the corner of my eye that somebody was walking up to me from behind, and it, I felt a little bit of fear, but then I thought real quick, okay, because I didn't have my firearm on me, but it was but it was in the glove compartment in my car. So what I did is that I went in, got in the car as quick as I could, and reached for it. And I had it in my hand, but it was small enough that I was able to cover it for the most part. And then I immediately kind of like looked back and looked at the guy, and like, and I looked at him right in the eye, like, "What do you want?" I didn't really say anything, but I gave him that look, like, "What do you want?" And just the look alone was enough for the guy to go like, put his hand on the side. Oh, sorry, and he walked a different way. But the guys did seem like he was walking behind me, kind of like following me, like a few feet away from me up to my car. And but I should have had it on me. I should have had the firearm on me. So because the guy was walking up towards me from behind.
Mhm.
So
But
that was
sometimes,
a bit of a scary moment, but
yeah, because
nothing happened.
because
So
it scared the hell out of me, man. Like,
yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't
I
like,
can imagine.
I haven't been in those situations in a long time, but you never forget. You never
Yeah,
forget. And like, I was just like, soon as I saw him, and when I say it's dark, I mean, I'm sitting here waiting in this drive through. Across the street is abandoned buildings right there. And and it's no light nowhere.
yeah,
The only lights that you're seeing is the lights of people's cars that's driving across the main street. So like, when
yeah,
I saw, him coming behind me like that, it scared the holy hell out of me, because I was just like, either I act now or things could possibly, go worse for me. So that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
thing that I had to think about. But after that, like, I parked. I just parked. I was like, look, man, I'm gonna buy you some food. And it didn't help that these people, terrible customer service, by the way, because they took all day. Anything could have happened to me in that process. But
Yeah, yeah,
Are you
yeah.
are you
Gonna
saying
have
that?
to try to order online and go
yeah,
get there when it's already ready for you to just pick it up. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. You don't want to be
mhm,
working, waiting in that drive-through so dark at night.
yeah,
Yeah, you were
yeah. That was
saying,
a
Jose?
mistake on my part. That was a
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
Are
Go
you
ahead, Jose.
saying are you saying that the service was not exactly 100% speedy?
No, no, it was not. It
No,
was not.
it was the very opposite. The very
Yeah,
opposite.
it was 100% slow. But after that, I went in and I got my food, and I was like, you guys took a pretty long time. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, something could have happened to me, but thank you. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
I bought him some food, and he went, he went on, his way and everything like that. But it just goes to show you, like, and even what you were saying, Ramon, as far as, having your firearm in your glove compartment, it's some places where we can't take our firearms in, and
Exactly.
Mhm.
like, even in that type of situation, when I can't have my firearm, I always keep a blade on me, and I have palm spray. I got palm POC spray, which is
Yes.
advertised on, what's my man's name? I can't think of his name. Active Self Protection.
Okay.
So I keep those two things on me to be able to protect myself at all times, to be
Yes.
able to have something if I can't get to my firearm, to be able to to defend myself. And but yeah, that was a situation where that was very scary. And I've been in multiple where I've that fear kicks in, and then after that fear is either fight or flight mode, where you just
Yes.
like, okay, I'm gonna have to do what I got to do to make sure that I stay here, or make sure that
Yeah.
nothing, I don't get any bodily harm done to me. So, but yeah, and that's what we're stressing right now. It's important for people to be well aware, because let's say he wasn't a homeless person that wasn't looking for food. Let's just say he
Mhm.
was looking to victimize me, and I was not paying attention to my mirrors at that time. Let's say I was on my phone.
Yeah.
That person could have got up close to me and he could have did whatever. Or even if he wasn't looking to do anything to me and just rob me. Like, hey, get out the car. I got you dead to rights. Don't even try it. I would have,
Right.
had to get out my car, give him my car, give him everything I had, all because I wasn't vigilant and aware and not paying any attention to my surroundings.
No, no. Keep your head on a swivel, as they say. I mean, kind of like looking around you at all times. So don't let anything get you distracted. That's what I try to do all the time. Getting out of the car, looking, trying to look in every direction I can, so that nobody can say that they can get the jump on me. Uh, I mean, at least where I'm at, where I live is very quiet. It's fairly quiet. It is in an industrial area, so I'm not in the hood or anything. But still, I mean, I try to
Yeah, well, yeah, any person,
stay alert
yeah,
of my surroundings all the time. Hmm.
any person know that anything can, like, if you are a vigilant person, that anything can happen anywhere. Even though you live in an area, of course, like you say, that it's less likely to happen, it's always that percentage something can happen. So you
Yeah.
always just want to be aware, like you were saying. And me personally, I don't live in the hood either. I ventured about 15, 20 minutes away just to go get something to eat. And that was a area that you had, your senses had to be a little bit more alerted. But yeah, it's very important, to think, to be aware that anything can happen. I mean, look at White Settlement, the church there. No one would ever think that
Yeah.
that would happen. And especially in Texas either, because everybody and their mother got a firearm in Texas. And
No,
also
but
another.
still. Uh-huh.
Oh no, go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no. I mean, just wanted to add too that there was another situation in which previously, before that, I believe, also in Texas, another church shooting, because for some reason they shoot up churches too. I mean, that's I think it's an outrage, and I'm not even religious like that. But finish what you were saying, Joaquin.
Yeah, it's just like you said, it's an outrage based off of the fact too, is that you're dealing with people. Whenever a person makes up in their mind that they want to shoot up a church or a
Yeah,
mosque, or what's
it could be like
what's
a
the what's
synagogue, or
yeah, a
I don't
synagogue,
know.
they're
Yeah,
targeting the people that are the most vulnerable, because you're
yeah,
not expecting to
yeah.
see somebody that's trying to do you harm in church, because everyone here, we're praising our Lord and Savior. And
Hmm.
here comes this person that that's why I agree with some people that carry even in church. And here comes this person that strolls in and like, oh, look like a bunch of kind, friendly, God-fearing people. And
Yeah,
he's picking his victims. Another person we can take for example is Dylan Roof. um
yeah. I remember
yeah,
that was another church shooting,
yeah,
and that one was really tragic, because
yeah,
several people, unfortunately, were killed in
yeah.
that one. Yeah,
And no one
and
no one
nobody there. Nobody was carrying anything.
no,
You see the contrast there. I mean,
yeah,
nobody was carrying anything. Nobody had anything to protect themselves, and they were just made
massacred.
victims
Yeah,
right then and there. Unfortunately,
and
yeah,
and some people beg for their life and they pleaded, but
yeah,
when you're looking in the face of evil,
yeah,
it's no pleading or begging. And even he said it himself, that they were so nice, they were such good, nice people, that I,
Yeah.
questioned about taking their lives, which ultimately he didn't because, he did it and no one was armed. And it's those type of situations that we're stressing on your platform today, Ramon, that people
Hmm.
needs to understand that you may not think you need a firearm until you need one. And
Oh
but
yeah,
by the
yeah.
time you
That's the
realize,
expression.
yeah,
That's the expression that it's better to have it and never need it than to need it and not have it. I
exactly.
mean, because the latter is tragic because
Yeah.
that's when you realize that you messed up by not being ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, but finish what you were saying. My bad. I didn't mean to
Oh, no, no,
interrupt.
no, no. No, that's all I was saying, like you said, because it's nothing worse than in those last seconds that you're just like, oh man, I don't have anything to fight back with. I don't have
Yes.
anything to fight back with. And you're starting to think to yourself, I wish I would have listened, or I wish I would have took heed to that advice. Never in a million years would I would think that I would find myself in this situation.
Yeah,
But a
and
lot of
and
people
and
don't
for
think like
that,
that.
and for that to be the last thing that you think before losing your life,
Mhm.
that's tragic. That's
Yeah.
tragic as hell, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's better to be prepared. Period. It's better
Yeah.
to be prepared, and that's what in this live stream we're trying to stress. Hopefully, this reaches to like a couple of people. I only have one people watching, and but
Well,
I don't
excuse me.
care. I don't care
Well,
if
well,
it
the fact
reaches
that
someone else.
well,
Mhm.
the fact of the matter is, Fighter has this stream tonight. So some of the people that might have, otherwise have watched this stream are watching Fighter stream, but
No,
they
that's fine. That's
but they
fine.
can but they can catch it on the playback.
Yes, yes, I'm hoping that I sent out the link to a couple of people, and hopefully they can check it out. So, and maybe this is a subject that
Oh
we
yeah.
can continue on because we only scratched the surface on the subject. I mean, we haven't talked about it on anything that has been going on. Kind of like I didn't touch on how earlier this year, back in before September, the governor did pass like a few resolutions and passed state laws. One of them being basically that Texas is being a Second Amendment sanctuary, where
Yeah.
federal regulation is not going to be enforced. I mean, they will actually block that in Texas. If the federal government wanted to do something that has to do with gun control in Texas, then the state government will actually sue them. Will actually sue them for it and block them, which is major.
Yeah.
It's big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because we all, and I even have a friend of mine too who went through a similar incident where he got into a road rage incident in in
Yeah.
in 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 the city, and one of these little wild teenagers that obviously wasn't raised properly decide that he waves his firearm out the window.
Mm-hmm.
He waves his firearm out the window and aims at him.
Oh
And
no.
this kid got a 30-round extension on his
Yes.
magazine. So he's in front of my friend, so he waves it out the vehicle. My friend pumped the brakes and he draws his. And he's getting ready to, shoot through the windshield if he has to. So he see that he has something and he decides to pull off.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't feel so bold then, right?
no, 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 he didn't feel bold. He didn't feel bold.
Uh
And
huh.
my friend, of course, he was at that day he was practicing at the range, and
Yeah.
he had one of the 30-round mags that
Mhm.
and he had it loaded, which he should have took it out because he don't live in the city anymore either. He lived out in the suburbs. But
Mhm.
he calls the police and he tells
Yeah.
them everything that happens. The police officer comes, and he tells him, "Well, what firearm do you have?" He showed him his Glock 20 with an extended magazine, and he said, "Well, I'm going to have to confiscate this because you're over, you're limited." And I mean, you're over the limits of what you can carry in the magazine. And he said, "Man, this kid just pulled out a 30-round extended mag on me, and you're talking
Yeah.
about that I'm over, I'm limited." He's like, "You really going to do that, man?" But unfortunately, the police officer cut him a break. He said, "I'm not going to do that, but just make sure it don't happen again, because I can confiscate your firearm for this right now." He said, "Just, I'm going to leave that out of the report, and I'm just going to put, what you told me." He like, "But just make sure it doesn't happen again when you come into the city of Chicago." So
Huh?
he gave him a break, but it goes to show you how, like, he's like, "Really? Like, you treat me like I'm the criminal?" And this guy just
Yeah.
like, this guy could have, like, he had ammunition for days to go back and forth with me. and this is what, and I'm the person that's going to be charged. Okay, but it go to show you how, what you were saying early in the stream, Ramon, that the laws and the policies are not within the civilians' favor
Yes.
in the northern states. It's not.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah, and
excuse me.
I wanna say, hey, what's up, Denise? Hit the link. Hit the link if you wanna join.
Yes, by all means, join us. This is we're having an interesting conversation regarding.
My sister niece in the building. What's going on, girl?
Yeah, man.
Yes, my cyber
Fellow
my cyber
fellow
daughter,
Boricua, fellow Boricua, man.
my cyber daughter.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But
um,
as we were saying, that's it's at least the police did cut your friend a break, because I thought that you were gonna say that they ended up arresting him.
no,
That they
yeah,
arrested
he
him
he
for
he
having
cut
that
him a break.
magazine.
Yeah, he cut him a
Okay.
break. And
Yeah.
also, like, the funny thing is, the Midwest, we have a saying that we say here in Illinois. The Midwest are cousins to the South, and not every
Yes.
Midwestern state is a blue state. And just like
Hmm.
how how you live down down south, Ramon, Indiana is the same way. Indiana to us, northeast Indiana to us, is like a New Yorker going into Jersey. It's right there. It's nothing but a half an hour away. Like,
Right.
if you guys was ever to visit the Windy City and you say, "You know what, I want to go see Michael Jackson's house." Michael Jackson's house is in Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana is nothing but a half an hour from Chicago.
Oh, right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So most,
The house that he grew up in.
yeah, the
Right.
house that he grew up in. That's how close Indiana is so close that I go do my shopping back and forth in Indiana on the daily.
Really.
And yes, Indiana is a red state. I actually experienced, when I went over there to get some gas, because gas is cheaper than it is in
Right.
Illinois. It was a kid in there in the gas station,
Hmm.
young guy, looked like about 19 or 20. He had an extended magazine. He was the clerk in the gas station. He had an
Yes.
extended magazine hanging out his pocket. And I said, "Hey, man, you got that stick hanging out of your pocket." And he was like, "Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, don't worry about it, man. It's legal." He like, "I just, make sure to defend myself." I'm like, "Well, what you got there?" And of course, it was a Taurus G3. He had a
Uh-huh.
Taurus G3 with a beam on there and a 30-round mag. And I was like, "You know
Right.
what? I like that, man. I like that." I told him, I like, I wish I can do the same, because even if you have a beam on your firearm, you can get
Yes.
arrested for that in Chicago as well. You cannot have
Uh,
any type of attachment.
yeah. But that's the thing. None of those restrictions are really working, because
No,
that's
and and that's the point I was going to make it too, because I was going to, like, a lot of these kids that are doing this crime in Chicago, you have gun smugglers from Indiana that's bringing these guns into the city of Chicago, because the gun laws are lax in Indiana. So you have people
Mhm.
that go over, that maybe, let's say they are criminals, let's say they're gang members, drug dealers, or whatever. They go over with their money into the state of Indiana and meet up with people that live in Indiana who are able to purchase these guns relatively with ease, buy them off of them, and bring those guns back into the state of Illinois and into the city of Chicago. Therefore, you got all of these different firearms that they're finding ways to get.
Yes.
Meanwhile, as a person that live only across the border, only
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes away, it's
Mm-hmm.
difficult for me to purchase anything to be able to defend myself. But these guys can go right over there, with their gun laws. You don't even have to have a FOID card to be able to purchase a firearm in the state of Indiana. It's a red state. Go
Yes.
right over there,
Yes.
and now these are the guys who have guns that are not traceable, and they're
Mm-hmm.
out here committing crimes with these guns, whether it be robbery, whether it be shootings or murder, and
Yeah. 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 And the thing is that the thing is that I have heard of that before, of that situation when it comes to the strawman purchases in Indiana and bringing the stuff back to Chicago. Damn. Apparently, Rakim was talking too much truth, and he got caught off.
Yeah, the
So
mix.
what
Yeah,
could be?
the mix got him.
Okay, let me see. I think he should be coming back. Let's see. Hey man.
yeah. I don't know what happened. I just
They
got
got
kicked
to
out.
you. They got to you for a moment there. Yeah. But like you were saying, I had heard a little something about about strawman purchases from Indiana and taking them to Chicago. But the thing is that the purchases have to be made from somebody legally. If it's done legally, I mean, they have to be done by an Indiana resident. I don't think that you can come from a different state and purchase in Indiana legally.
No, you have people that live in different areas within Indiana that will buy them and they
Mm-hmm.
will sell them. You even have some people that's their thing. They have they sell guns, and a lot of the times they would get these guns and they will buy them off somebody else, and then they'll report it stolen. And that person
Mm,
they'll report those firearms stolen, and then
yeah.
before you know it, they're off the hook for whatever. But in some cases, they're cracking down because there has been firearms recently that was used in homicides where it traced back to Indiana, and the person who purchased it is now being investigated and a lot of times
Right.
arrested. And even within me, it was a guy, because this is a big business here. It was a guy. It
Mm-hmm.
was about a couple of years ago. It was a guy that lived in the neighboring suburb from me called University Park, Illinois. And
Yes.
he was raided. And as he was raided, they found a lot of firearms. And not only did they find firearms, that he was raided by the ATF, they found what we call here switches, where he was selling this little part of a that called a switch, where you can instill it into your Glock, and you can turn it fully auto.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. That's a highly regulated item, and for that you have to have a special license to have that little thing. But
Yeah.
that's easy. That's very easy to install on the back of the slide of a Glock, and it makes your gun. It turns it into a little machine gun. And even though that's not, it's fun. I'm sure it's fun. I haven't tried one of those, but I have seen videos of people using those little switches on the Glock, and they can't really really aim them and fire
No.
them properly. So it's scary. It's a scary thought, the fact that there are these kids that are getting these little switches and putting them on the Glocks, and
Yeah.
they're using them like an Uzi, like a little
Yeah.
Uzi,
Yeah. And that's the
and
thing, because they
they're
get close up
spraying
on you.
bullets all over the place and
Yeah.
getting throwing all kinds of stray bullets everywhere and hitting all types of civilians
Yeah.
that didn't deserve, that didn't don't deserve to be getting wounded, to be getting
Don't
to be
even know
getting
what's going
harmed.
on. Yeah. Don't even know what's
No,
going on.
they were just in the wrong place at the
At the
wrong
wrong time.
time, and those It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. All the more reason that the law-abiding civilians should be able to protect themselves, because
Exactly.
there are these other types that are just reckless,
Yeah,
and they don't care who they're
and
taking down with them.
Um,
yeah.
excuse me.
Oh, go ahead, Jose.
But you know what would help if we had like a national gun law? Because we have like 50 states, we have like 50 different set of gun laws. So it gets to be ridiculous. It will only have one national standard. Because what happens
Yeah,
is, like for example, let's say it's so difficult for me to get a gun in New York. I can go somewhere to a state where it is easier to buy like maybe two, three, four guns and then selling over here back in New York. If we had like a national standard as far as gun control, that would
yeah,
take that would ease up on that.
yeah, yeah. It's just that because states, they can have their own local regulations, their
Yeah.
state regulations. It kind of complicate things, and it has a lot to do with the values that represent the states. That's why there are these variations, and in places in parts like the West Coast and the Northeast, the values are different than in the South, where even though there is kind of like more conservative, but one of the things about with the conservatives is that they like their guns and they don't want the restrictions on them, and they're
No,
very adamant about it. Yeah,
and it goes to show you too. You've even heard guys go to the extreme of saying that if they put gun regulations in effect in the South, the police is going to have to pry it out of their dead hands, which means that they'll be willing to
hmm,
engage law enforcement to keep
yeah,
their firearms, which means like that's when you're dealing that's when you're dealing with a strong
yeah,
culture to the point that people are willing to sacrifice themselves from. They kind of similar
yeah.
to going into the Middle East and saying
Yeah.
you're going to regulate Islam to for your own agenda or something. You
Uh,
better be prepared to die because the
yeah,
people
yeah,
that's a strong culture that people are not willing to back down from. It's not as extreme, don't get me wrong, but I don't believe Southern Americans are going to back down from
no, it's
that.
kind of like what I mentioned earlier when the governor, the Texas governor, that he declared Texas a sanctuary state for the Second Amendment. It's been
Excuse me,
declared a sanctuary state.
excuse me, guys. I don't know if you're aware, but it seems like we have someone in the chat that's trying to say some garbage.
Oh,
Okay,
we got
okay.
trolls.
Yeah.
I know we don't have no more trolls. We just dealt with this a couple days ago.
Okay, but okay, but if I may make a suggestion,
Yeah,
um, Ramon, you need to have moderators in your channel to prevent stuff like this, because you're gonna have people from the peanut gallery that's gonna enter their stupidity.
yeah. I see it. I'm not even gonna bother highlighting it because
I know,
we don't know. We
but
don't. We
this
don't
is
need this. We don't need this. We don't need this.
I know, but we
Yeah.
see the thing about the moderators, what they can do is like they can block these individuals and delete their comments.
Yeah.
So just just something, just something to think about, Ramon. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I'm not that experienced as a YouTube
Yeah.
creator, but and yeah.
No, yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Um, see who is it? Well, yeah, this
So somebody who claims to be from the Bronx, is that what the BX is?
we had problems with that guy the other night. We had
Okay.
problems with him the other night. He's a troll. and I don't know if that's the real moon chaser either. Now that I'm looking, because I'm
No, no,
just
no. No, Moon Chaser is good. Moon
no,
Chaser
no, yeah,
is good.
because it's a troll that's using moon chaser's profile, and he came
Okay.
over trolling as well. So I don't know if that's the real moon or if that's a moon. Is that the real you? If you're still in the room, come up to the panel if that's the real you, moon. So that may be a troll. But yeah. These trolls is out of control, man. But but yeah, like
No,
yeah,
Moon
what
Chaser,
was
you're fine. I see you. I see you.
okay,
I know that's not you.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So it looks
So,
like
but
I'm sorry. It looks like you do have at least one moderator. So that's good
Yeah.
because unfortunately, this is the type. This is what happening in YouTube. You have certain individuals who like to troll, and other people who like to enter stupid remarks like that. That's the reality.
but but yeah,
Yeah, but
like
getting back to what we were talking about,
Yes.
oh
they're not
yeah,
important. They don't matter.
yeah, like what we were just saying. So you have because what we're dealing with as well is that we know as well poverty produces crime
Mm-hmm.
anywhere because let's because anywhere where you have people that are impoverished, you're gonna have crime. And the funny thing is that you're looking at these local politicians. You don't want to do anything. Schools are constantly closing down. These neighborhoods are food deserts, and then on top
Mm-hmm.
of it, um, jobs are lacking within these
Yeah.
areas, and you have people that have to live in these areas, and then you taking away their gun rights too. Like you, like what do you want to? What do you want anybody to do? And like you said, they'll constantly enforce this stricter gun laws, stricter gun laws. As much as I can remember, as long as I can remember, I was seeing stop the violence marches in '93, and
Yeah.
nothing has gotten any better. So they're obviously telling you that no matter how strict the gun laws are, if you have a person that is a felon that has nothing to lose, where he can't make it, let's say he did commit any felonies, he get out, he can't make a decent living for himself. He's going to resort back to a life of crime, which he's going to find ways to get illegal firearms because he can't own one legally. I mean, I don't understand what's so difficult to understand about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's. I don't know. I don't know what's the thing. It's the whole thing about pipelining,
Yeah.
recidivism. I think it's
Yes.
called,
Yes.
and but because of lack of options, not being able to do other things, and yeah, you're more likely to go back to what worked for you temporarily, even if you risk going back to prison. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
because one thing I will say here in the States, we know that prison is a business, and I
Mhm.
think any American would attest to that because we would think that we have some of the worst prisons until we don't even have to go that far. Let's say you go to a Jamaican prison, or you go to back on the islands to prison in Puerto Rico, or you go to
Yeah.
a prison in other countries where it's people that are real criminals. And I'm not saying that it's not people that are criminals here in the United States, but no, it's like real criminals, people that are really like murderers, deranged type of people, and you'll be like, oh, damn, man, how the hell I'm gonna make it? How the hell I'm gonna survive in this prison? This ain't like U.S. prison ain't got nothing on out here,
Hmm.
So it goes
Yeah.
to show you
Yeah.
how much prison is a business here, and
Oh,
it's
and yeah,
set
yeah,
up that
yeah.
way.
That's
Yeah,
kind of the. Let's remember. Let's remember. Let's establish one piece of fact that can be corroborated, uh, and that is because the 13th Amendment. Yes, the 13th Amendment is the one that has to do with abolition of slavery. That slavery shouldn't be practiced, but you have to look to read the whole thing because
yeah.
it does have a
It's a
clause.
clause in there. It's a
Yeah,
clause
there
in
is the
there.
clause. There is the clause that says that
Yeah,
somebody
unless
who
you're
has
property of
been
the state.
Yeah, yeah. Property of the state meaning somebody who's in prison, somebody who's in prison for at least like a felony, they can be put to do forced labor. And what is
Hmm.
forced labor?
Yeah,
Slavery.
maybe slavery. Hmm.
That's exactly what it is. So people can be re-enslaved. So slavery didn't end. It was just reformatted.
It was
It
just
was
reformed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was just changed around and renamed into something else, kind of
Yeah,
like prison labor. Prison
and
labor. It
yeah,
was
and
not called
when you get
slavery, but it's prison labor.
yeah,
Hmm.
and when you get there, you're no longer your name. You're a number. So if you get there,
Yes.
you are CJ198652, and that's what you
Yeah.
and that's your name. And once you're in there, of course, you are forced to get a job that pay pennies on the dollar. You're
Yeah.
forced to pay restitution, and I feel so bad for people that are falsely accused of crimes that they didn't commit, because once you get in there, you know, let's say if you was falsely accused of assault, or you was falsely accused of anything like that, or any type of thing with children, if you're in there, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. It's going to be very difficult for you. And it goes to show you that some people are railroaded because it is a business. So if they realize that you're poverty stricken, you don't have money for a lawyer, you don't have
Hmm.
money to fight the system, you're going to be left with a public offender who's really looking to strike a deal with the courts and strike a deal with the prosecutor. Is going to send you right up the river, and you're going to be dealing with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and it's not necessarily that the public defender is incompetent or not capable of putting up a defense on your behalf. It's just that sometimes public defenders are so overworked, and and they have the odds
yeah.
against them because they're dealing with a tough judge, and the prosecutor is somebody who is more capable. And I mean, the defender may be capable, but the prosecutor is this type of pit bull that is trying to rack up numbers, very aggressive in
Yeah.
what they do, and maybe they're friends with the judge, and you have the odds
Hey,
against
I just
you. Yeah,
Hey, I just wanted to say something, Ramon.
yeah.
I'm probably about to get ready to get kicked out because my phone is at 1%. So
Oh, okay,
if I
Oh,
do
but
get
okay.
kicked out,
when are
I
you
know,
going to use a
I
computer?
know, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Come
If I
on,
do
come
get
on,
kicked out, guys,
come on, man.
like around
You
next
need to
week,
upgrade.
I'm gonna be getting another. Yeah, around next week, I'm gonna be getting myself a new laptop. So,
I mean,
um,
you can just get a refurnished laptop for maybe $100 or so.
yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to get to like something that was the top of the top, and so
Yeah,
like I was getting bills out the way because I wanted to create my channel and of course have you guys as guests on my channel as well. But if I do get kicked out, I'm just gonna charge it and I'll be.
and that's exactly how what happened.
Okay,
His
see,
battery just ran out. Yeah,
that's the reason why you
yeah.
do not use a phone. Or if you use a phone, you keep it charged with a charger, so at least that way you can stay on for longer. But even after a while, it eats battery life.
Yeah, because StreamYard is not something that I recommend running on a phone. I mean, I've had difficulty with it, that it has kicked me out and it makes my phone. It used to happen with my older phone. I have a newer one, but with my older phone, StreamYard would make it hot. It would make the phone hot because it was putting so much of a load on it that it will use up its resources and use up battery. Normal calling, normal, or using an app or watching a video on YouTube, that was fine. It wouldn't raise the temperature of the phone, but using StreamYard, it will make the phone hot, and it will kick me out sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hey, any of you guys, Denise, Moonchaser, you can come up if you want,
Well,
but like,
well,
okay.
I'm sure um, if Denise was up to it, she would join the panel. Because we don't know what a person might have gone through during the day.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing about these streams, there's a way that you can program it that only your subscribers can enter comments in the chat.
The subscriber, you mean like the
Okay, like example.
mhm.
There's a feature where you can program it that only your subscribers can enter comments in the chat.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Okay. I
So
will have to
that's
look. I will
so
have to
so,
look into that.
so
Hmm.
that's what I'm doing now. I think Denise is doing it right as well, and also our friend Radical Latino.
Ah, yeah, yeah, because I'm sure radical. A lot of his streams can be a little bit controversial, so I'm sure that it attracts the trolls in droves.
Well,
So
not just the trolls, but the mix.
yeah, 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 and all of the different varieties of tips.
Yes,
I understand
because
that.
you, yes, because you got the slow taps, you got the Hispano taps, you got
Yeah,
the vest taps, you have the correct taps, you have the state taps, you also
yeah.
have the femo taps and the welfare taps.
All right, all right,
So,
definitely, definitely. Oh man.
but but you know what? Your channel will grow in time. I mean, it's just that as long as you continue to produce
Mm-hmm.
quality content, because it could be a challenge. I mean, I actually made the mistake of host putting on a live stream the same night that Christina has hers.
Ah, oh, she has one coming up,
No, I'm just saying
and
I made the mistake of scheduling.
okay, okay, on a past one, right, I got you. Hmm.
So
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
no, that's fine, that's fine. It's fine. I just hope that for the other folks that I sent the link to, they can catch the playback. That's fine.
yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sure that they will. Um, Now, like I said, our friend right, he needs to get a laptop or at least a
I have
tablet.
been telling him. I have been telling him, man, you need to upgrade your device, get yourself a proper computer, man, so so you don't
Uh,
get kicked out. Because I can imagine most likely his phone is all hot because StreamYard is using all these resources and it drained the battery real quick, because that's what it is. That's what it is. I mean, Stranger is not really for phones, because if you're using your phone, you have to use Chrome on your phone, which those take resources. So it's something that I just don't recommend it. Yeah.
maybe we need to set up a GoFundMe a thing for
Yeah.
Michael to get
no,
her.
don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. He'll get embarrassed. Nah, dude.
No,
But
but
yeah. He mentioned something about eventually he's gonna be doing his own live streams, and I keep telling him, man, like you need to upgrade. You need
yeah,
to upgrade. Get your devices, updated devices, get that in order so you can do quality streaming without getting all cut off because because his phone got hot or something, and you shut down on him. Yeah, yeah.
well, one thing I do appreciate is that both Denise and her better half, Melanie and I, has
Hmm.
given me some technical advice as far as my channel is concerned.
Yes. Yes.
So,
All
you know,
right.
yeah. And I'm happy to say I have 35 subs, and my material has been watched for over 300 hours so far.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's
So,
good. That's good.
Yes.
Well, let's see. Let's see. I don't. I'm not checking my analytics. So I'm not into doing that yet. But eventually, I'm gonna have to check some progress. This is only my second live, so I'm looking forward to doing more. As long as we can make it about subjects that are relevant. Not somebody who wants to talk about people's appearance and take shots at them. Come on now. This is in high school. Stop. Don't
Or
do that over here.
talking about Mr. BBC and
Well, that's not
who's dating
that doesn't matter.
who's dating what, and the three
Uh-huh.
rules, and making the DR wine again and resurrecting Spanish Empire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, let's see how soon we can have another chat again, guys. And for the people leaving the likes, appreciate it. And I appreciate Denise and Moonchaser commenting in the chat. But I believe that I'm gonna be kind of like stepping out for the night, calling it a night, because I do have to get up early. I have to work tomorrow. So,
Okay.
anything final that you wanted to say, Don Jose?
Yeah, I just want to let people know that this is not an easy um topic to discuss because you
No.
have people at both extremes, um, and there's we need to have a means where people who have the mental stability and
Hmm.
the training to be properly trained and be allowed to carry a weapon as long as it's used responsibly. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm going to take a time to let everybody know that my next stream will be on Tuesday. Um,
Hmm.
it will be on 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're going to and the topic will be how to deal with depression, part two. And in fact, we're going to have Tim Dagallo, who happened to be a therapist, that's going to share his insight in regards to the discussion. So, it'll be good to get some expert advice. So I just want to,
Hmm.
encourage everyone, to, you know, um, if they're able to, please, partake, whether it be part of the panel or just enter the live, enter the chat. And of course, I gotta close the same way I always close. People, please be careful out there because we're still dealing with COVID-19, which has killed almost 800,000 people so far. And we must do everything possible to reduce our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, or else we will become infected by their stupidity and massive insanity.
Hmm. Well said. Well said. Unfortunately, there are the types that might be sheep and they follow other people's mentality. They're not stopping and making their own, doing their own thinking, which will be beneficial to them. They don't want to do that, and like they're still listening to the conspiracy theories. They're not having anything confirmed. Now it's valid. There are valid concerns when it comes to this pandemic and how suspicious some things may seem as to how they are proceeding with dealing with the situation. But still, everybody needs to get informed and make their own decisions.
I
That's
I
that's kind of
agree.
like the best thing that they could do. Yes, sir.
I I
Hmm.
agree 100%.
All right. Well, if there is nothing else, then I guess I'm gonna bid you a farewell for now and a good night, and we can do this again soon enough.
Yes, and whatever you do, try not to lose your cool.
Oh no, because for one, I'm not trying to allow for um, for like trolls wanted to bother what we're trying to do here. This is about conversations between grown-ups. If anybody want to do the whole ratchetness things that are like a million other channels where they can do that. That's not what we're trying to do here.
Actually, I was referring to the weather.
Ah, to the weather. When it comes to the weather, no. Weather today was actually 80 degrees. Ah,
Oh,
you
how
have loved that.
depressing! How depressing!
Yes.
In fact,
The,
tomorrow, later today, it's going up to the mid 60s. So I'm so disappointed.
no. What's there to be disappointed about? You're not freezing to death there.
Oh, come on now! It doesn't get. First of all, it doesn't get real cold over here. I mean, you have a
Oh
couple of
no,
days.
it just goes all the way down to like 10 degrees, and that's not cold to you, right?
That's, I mean, that's like light winter.
Like winter, come on now. Nah. Anything below 50 degrees, that's too cold for me.
Oh boy, sounds like you've been listening to our friend Denise.
No, well, both of us are from the island. You have to
Well,
understand that both
actually,
of us are from the
actually,
island. We never.
I was raised in the island of Manhattan.
Well, very different island. Very different island. Come on now. I mean, both Denise and I both born and raised in a tropical island where it never really gets cold. There is a lot of rain. That's what we do have to deal with a lot, but we don't have to deal with cold. So that's just how it is. We're never gonna get used to it. We came to the states when we were already adults, so we're not trying to deal with this cold. No,
People have,
no.
you just have to adapt. That's all.
I have been trying to adapt for the last 10 years or so. I can't. I can't adapt to it.
You'll be surprised
No.
what you can do if you put your mind to it.
Hmm. All right. That's all right. All right. So, Don Jose, nice
Yes, thank
talking to
you.
you again as usual. And I'm gonna have to say good
Bye.
night because
Good
I
night.
have to.
Have a
Good
good
night,
weekend.
sir.
Take
You
care.
too. You too, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.